Hey guys, Jonah here, and today is finally the day that we put together the ultimate Pink Toolkit. I think I've got enough stuff to create a full ultimate toolkit. And the ultimate toolkit needs a really good toolbox, and for that, we've got the Peli 1510. This bright pink box is limited edition, and as luck would have it, we already make shadow foam inserts for it too. So as you can see, we've got 4 layers. We can fit a lot of tools in this thing, and there's loads of space in the middle for signatures from all of the different female creators and makers and YouTubers that we know. So let's get into it. So just to bring you up to speed, why are we doing the ultimate pink toolkit? Well, have you ever heard of pink tool disease? What is pink tool disease? It's the pandemic that is all pink tools, or most pink tools, are cheap and nasty. This is a good example. It's the X-Tol Lady. Why it needs to be called the Lady, I don't know. Bit of a superfluous name, but in this kit, everything is just cheap and nasty. Nothing is even close to heavy duty. It's a bit of a random collection. I mean, you've got gardening shears mixed in with a hammer and a spanner. The worst torch I've ever seen is in this kit. You've also got like a pink paintbrush chucked in here. They just try to kind of make as many pieces as they can pink, and they chuck in any old random stuff to increase the part count. And these kits can be cheap, but they can also be quite expensive. This one was about 70 or 80 quid, and there's nowhere close to that amount of value in it, I would say. The only thing I like is the little compact 3-meter tape. I think that one can go in my toolkit, but everything else we can easily improve on. Now, I know a lot of female makers, creators, and engineers, and I think kits like this really do them a disservice. Firstly, I don't think they really need pink tools, but I know there's a few, especially, that would love an ultimate pink toolkit. So, that's the mission. We're gonna be putting together the ultimate pink toolkit. I've got some amazing tools in here to show you, and then we're gonna be sending off this case to get signed by all those aforementioned makers and creators, and then we're gonna be auctioning the whole thing for breast cancer, because if you didn't know, it's Breast Cancer Awareness Month. I've put all this together with perfect timing, and with all that being said, let me show you the tools. So the first tool out of the box is the first one that I got hold of, and that was a hammer from Kinetic Customs. And to be fair, this kind of inspired the whole thing really, because it's such a beast. Look at this. It's made in the UK, made up north in Glossop by Kinetic Customs. They basically rethink tools. They kind of start from scratch, make a nice design. This is their Raptor hammer, and it's an anodized aluminium handle and then a cast head, which is powder coated pink. That is an absolute beauty, and I think it's a really strong start. Every toolkit needs a hammer. When it comes to pink hammers, I don't think there's another one on the planet that exists better than that one. So pink hammer is number 1. Next up is something from Snap-on. Now, I haven't even opened this. I got it off Facebook Marketplace. Snap-on tools are expensive. Didn't need saying. Didn't need saying, did it? Snap-on tools are expensive. Pink Snap-on tools aren't readily available. I talked to the local dealer. He kind of said he'll have a look, but they're on a long lead time from America, and then he wasn't sure. Anyway, I just kept my eyes peeled. These popped up on Facebook Marketplace. As you can see, it's a sealed pack, but it is time to open them. Snap-on do have more pink tools than most brands, but I didn't want to make the whole kit a Snap-on kit. But I thought the screwdriver set was great. Now they have a soft grip and a hard grip, but this is like the classic. The American-made Snap-on screwdriver, and it's a really nice solid set. It's the 7-piece set, and it gives us a good spread of screwdrivers. I thought this was definitely a good kit to go for. Next up is something else from Snap-on. Again, this was from Facebook Marketplace. Slightly different colour pink. You will see there's a bit of a theme. I can't match all the pinks up, but it doesn't really matter. I think they'll all complement each other in the pink foam, in the pink case. This is the classic Snap-on ratchet screwdriver, and I thought it's got to have one of these. You can unscrew the head. I've got one of these in like a pearlescent colour. It's in one of my other kits, but I got a pink one for this because I thought it's got to have a little ratchet screwdriver. It's a great tool, and I mean, that alone is over 100 quid. Now, that's most of the Snap-on. Next up, this is something you can actually get. This is one of the only pink tools I could find that is available. We'll put a link in the description. This is on Amazon, and essentially it's a nice solid set of Allen keys and Torx keys made by Colfaline, which I've not heard of. But in all the research, it wasn't all just hard to come by tools. There were some that were a little bit easier to get, and this was one of them. And I just thought, well, you know what? Can't be bad, can it? Pink Allen keys, nice pink holder, and they seem pretty decent. They're chrome plated. I can't argue with it. I thought that solves one of the problems for me. I definitely needed Allen keys in this kit. Next up is a folding ruler. You know I had to have a Zollstock in this kit. Now I found this one in Germany. Not heard of Tox Germany, the brand, but I thought the sentiment was quite nice. It says Ekta Madels Machen selber, which I probably butchered that, but it means real girls do it themselves, which I thought was a great sentiment. Probably going to try and get that in the top liner of this kit because I like that, and it's a really nice quality one too. So that's going in the kit. And speaking of tape measures, I think I will will put this one in there too. It was the only item out of that little throwaway kit that I liked. 3 meter tape measure, and it feels like a nice one. And it's another shade of pink. I quite like that, mixing it up. So that can go in the kit. Next up is something from Mac Tools. It's a little fold-in 1/4" bit driver. It's ratcheting, and it can kind of get in all the tight spaces. And I thought, because there's no stubby driver, having something like this in the kit is really handy. And you can see, they call it red. But that's the thing with this, some of these red anodized finishes, they end up looking more pink than anything. You can see that looks a lot more pink than it does red, and I thought that was definitely a benefit to having a kit. I think that was around 40 quid. Mac Tools are another really decent lifetime warranty brand, but that's going in the kit. And talking about pink red anodizing, I also picked up a really good torpedo level. This is from Nerad Tools, and again, it was listed as red, but as you can see, it's more pink than red. Having a proper aluminium, single-bodied, milled body level in this kit. You definitely need a level in a kit. So I thought that is also, it's kind of widening our kind of range of pinks. We've got pastel pinks all the way up to these dark pinks, but still all matching, I think. Nice. So that's going in the kit. Another item you can get on Amazon is just a pair of titanium, good quality precision scissors. So I thought, got to have some scissors in the kit. I want this to be about as well-rounded as I can. I'm not putting garden shears in here, like the lady kit, but I do think a good pair of scissors is definitely worth having in your kit. So that's going in. Right, next up is a jerry rig everything knife. Now, I struggled for a while to figure out what knife was going to go in this kit. I was thinking maybe I'm going to have to spray paint one or get one from Alibaba or something. And even there, they just look really, really cheap and nasty until I stumbled across the jerry rig everything knife. Now, if you've watched Jerry Rig Everything, he's always scratching the screens of phones with a knife, and then he released his own design with this kind of hex pattern on it, and he did have one in pink, and I managed to get this. Really solid, nice aluminium body knife, this one. Fold-in utility knife as well, which is the ones I kind of like, and that is going in the kit with some spare blades, so that's going in. Another great little item I picked up was an Olight torch. Now this was a bit of a rarity because I wanted a quality LED torch, and if you go on Amazon, type in Pink Torch, you'll see a few kind of cheap, nasty looking ones, and if you've ever heard of Olight, you know they're really good quality ones, really nice. There's a limited edition one they did for, I think it was breast cancer in 2022. So they're not sold anymore, but I managed to get one. It's a small little design. It's only a small little Olight, but it's a really good quality one with a really nice pattern on it. Look at that. You can even see there on the top it says breast cancer awareness. I managed to get hold of one. It was the only one listed on eBay, and I think this was about 60 quid, but you can see it just goes, it adds to the kit really nicely. And as part of the deal, he sent me this too. I don't even know what it is. It says it's a mini rechargeable LED. How good is that? You literally plug that in a USB slot and it'll charge it up, and then you can take it off and that's your torch. How nifty is that? I didn't even know what that was. And it's, again, it's got the breast cancer symbol on it. So you plug that in a USB slot, that's where it'll charge. That isn't it, I like that. So they're in the kit, pink, and really good quality torch. I knew there'd be a good quality pink torch out there, but it just took a little bit of hunting to find it. Now, you know we love a giveaway on this channel, and Olight actually reached out to us. They heard about what we were doing, and they offered to send us some of their i32 mini torches, the same little torch that's going in this Pink Toolkit. And they've sent me 3. So if you're interested in winning one of those, drop a comment down below, make sure you subscribe, and that's all you've got to do. And I do read all of the comments and reply to as many as I can. And then in one of our future videos on the Shadow Foam channel, which I'll link up here, we do the prize draws, and we'll pick 3 winners out for this. So get involved, drop a comment, and make sure you're subscribed. Right, let's get back to the toolkit. Right, it doesn't stop there. I've still got some more beastie things to come, including one of my favorite things. Have you ever heard of a Fischer Space Pen? Now, a funny story about the Fischer Space Pen, I don't really know if it's true, but I'll tell you anyway, and that is that the Americans wanted a pen to write up in space. When they were putting the space station together, they were like, we need a pen so you can write up there, and they spent, you know, millions of pounds developing a pressurized canister that can write anywhere, and that's what the Fischer Space Pen is. It's basically a pressurized ink cartridge, and it'll write anywhere, it'll write upside down, you don't have to worry, it'll write on dirt, and you've got this special little cartridge here which is pressurized. And the Russians, who saw the same problem, used a pencil. And I thought, you know, classic. But I like the Fischer Space Pen anyway. It's a great little design. That's how small it goes, and then you just move it over like that. I've got a couple of these. I've not got one in pink, I've got one in silver and one in black. Great little addition to any toolkit. The fact that they had a pink one, I thought, got to include it in this kit. We're getting it really nicely well-rounded. Not just hammer and screwdrivers, we've got all the other little additions you need in a good, well-rounded toolkit. So that's the pen, that's the knife, that's the torch. We're keeping going. Got a few other bits. I've got a nice little bit holder. Now this is from Bosch. They used to have a little pink screwdriver. They sold it in the UK, and with that kit came this little set of bits. Now I didn't really rate the drill because I was thinking actually a Combi drill is more useful than just a screwdriver. But I did quite like the bit holder, and I thought having a nice wider array of bits to go with this was useful. It's also got a little bit holder on the front. I thought it's nice. I'm going to get that, so I'm including that in the kit. But we do need a drill, and for that, we've got a Makita drill. Now this little beastie solves more problems than just having an electric screwdriver, because you literally can use a Combi drill for a lot of jobs, can't you? It's multifaceted, a Combi drill, so I thought this is a much better option. Now I thought it was the 18 volt and it worked with all the 18 volt range. Sadly it doesn't, it's 12 volt and it's got its own batteries, but at least it came with its own charger. Sadly the charger's not pink, but I think the drill's pretty nifty. I think that's much more useful than just a screwdriver. So that's going in the kit with the charger, and you can see we are filling out the table here now. Only got a few things left. Another item, a set of spanners. A good toolkit needs a set of spanners. Now I couldn't find pink spanners, and there was a part of me that thought, well, I could put silver spanners in here, it wouldn't really matter. We've obviously got bits of silver all over it, but I thought there's got to be a better option. And then I found these. These are Sealy's Oil Slick Titanium Spanners. They're no longer sold, but you can see they're like a rainbow effect. And in some lights, you can see a bit of purple coming through, a bit of pink coming through. And I just thought they are a little bit more along the lines of the Ultimate Pink Toolkit than just a standard silver set. And it's a 10-piece spanner set that goes from 19mm down to 10mm. So I thought that's a pretty good set to chuck in this kit, but it doesn't solve all of our problems. There's still a few crucial items missing, and one of those is a socket set. You've got to have a decent quality socket set in this. Now for that, it's a bit tricky. There's definitely, I couldn't find any oil slick sockets, but what I did find, and I thought would be the start of something, is a 3/8 snap-on ratchet driver, which is a really nice quality one, and then a 1/4 inch. This is actually the Guy Martin. That's the Guy Martin symbol there. These again were off Facebook Marketplace. It cost me a fair bit, and I thought with these two in hand, we can then put a standard set of sockets with them, but we're not quite finished. At this point, what do you think I'm missing? What tools can you, if you're looking at this picture now with me, what am I missing here? For me, it's pliers. I could not find any good quality pliers. Snap-on, I've got a couple of pink pliers. They were really hard to get hold of. I could only find a few on eBay. I wanted a set, really, a matched set, and they cost a fortune. And I thought, we've got enough Snap-on. There's got to be another brand. Let me know in the comments if you know of any really good quality pliers. I nearly included these cheap and nasty ones, which I can't do that. I can't lower the tone with this toolkit. It's got to be all good stuff. Also, I found a couple of small pairs for like needle craft and for like bead making, stuff like that. Little pairs of pink cheap pliers, but I wanted something good quality. So I've got a bit of a plan. I think we might have to Plastidip the handles, but I won't say any more. Let's go to one of my favorite local tool haunts, Warnhill, because I've got a few things to pick up. I need to get some pliers that possibly I can turn pink, and I've got to get some sockets to go with these two. There's no point having the ratchet drivers and no sockets and extensions and stuff. So let's go to Warnhill. So this is what I was thinking. A decent set of Beta. So these are like Italian brand. I don't know if they're made in Italy, but Beta's a pretty good racing tools brand. Warnhill have got a full section of Beta. These ones I think you could dip quite nicely in the Plastidip. I think just the way that the handle is, it's already a dipped handle. You can see these little like drips here on the end. So I think these are a molded handle. So they sit in a mold and then they inject the rubber to create a molded handle. So I think dipping those, I'm not sure what result you'd get, but I'm pretty confident we'd get a good result if we dip those. They don't have any long nose pliers, but they've got some bull nose and some snips, and we could dip over those, and that'd give us a good start. They've also got some pipe grips, so I think that would be pretty good. I think we could dip all those, and then we'd have a good brand, a nice, and even that's like a Cobra grip. You've got a button. So a nice pair of grips, all pink. I'm pretty sure they would still constitute as the ultimate toolkit. Now I said they didn't have long nose pliers, and then I saw these things. I actually picked up a pair of these by Crescent in America. So these are like extra long nose. I mean, if you're gonna have long nose pliers, you may as well get long nose pliers. And I can see they've both got dipped handles. So I think that might be the play. All of those together will give you about as much plier coverage as you need. And I think we can make them all pink. So that's it from Beta. Let's have a look at the Teng stuff. That I think is all we need. So a 3/8 socket set. And then we probably do need a couple of 3/8 extensions. That's purely the sockets. We've obviously got the ratchet. Got 1/4 inch extensions here. There's a 3/8 one, and there's a 3/8 one. So that puts us on a pretty good 3/8 set. Now Bahco have a lot of good stuff, but most of their stuff is quite bright orange, which is going to spoil the theme obviously, but this is one of my favourite sets, the SL25. You usually get one of these for about 25, 30 quid tops. And it's a full set of 1/4 inch bits with an extension. So that's that. We've also got this one. I've never owned one of these, the SL25L. And that's the exact same kit, but then it's got the long ones as well, which the only bit of orange in there is the actual ratchet driver, which we've got a pink snap-on version. So if I get that, I think that'll be about 30 quid. That will be a better pickup. So we can put all that in the kit, and we've got an extension. So I think we'll go for that one over the Teng. I've already got a pretty good Sealy set of what they call oil slick spanners, which I think are better, but this would have been a pretty good option. You've got 2 pink ones in there. There's no pink spanner sets that I can find, but something with a bit of a hint of pink works. So I think we'll stick with the oil slick set, but they would have been a cool option. I mean, to be fair, there's an argument to get those, just to try and keep the colour theme going. So that would be the 3/8 set, and then you could include that 1/4 inch set. Oh. Torn now. Should we go for a 1/4 inch and a 3/8 set, multicoloured? That's 4mm up to 13, so that's the same as the Teng set. Maybe we don't get that 1/4 inch set. We'll just get these two. Would they match with the pink? That's the only question. I think they might look a little bit gaudy next to the hot pink tools. Let me know in the comments, would you have gone for these or just the plain chrome? I think we're going to leave those ones. But they were another option. Let's get back to the workshop and I'll show you what I got. See ya, cheers guys. Right, fresh back from Warnhill, and I've got some great additions to our Pink Toolkit, so I'll go through it. I've got a load of beta pliers. Now you might notice already, they're not following the pink theme, but I've got a plan. I've also got a set of 3/8 sockets to go with the 3/8 snap-on socket, and then I picked up this little kit. Now I love the Bako SL25, which is the small orange kit. This is like the bigger version, the bigger brother to the SL25. This is called the SL25L, large, more pieces in it. But the interesting thing is there's only one, although it's bright orange, and obviously Bako's an orange brand, there's only one orange item in this kit, other than the box. So it's difficult to get into. And that is the ratchet. So if I replace the ratchet for the 1/4 inch snap-on one, we now have a pink kit, and obviously we'll put it in shadow foam. So that is the 1/4 inch socket set solved. That is the 3/8, and basically you can see the different brands, and that's because I don't have any loyalty to any of the brands. Teng and Bako, I've had good experiences with both. They're good quality, and it was basically which is the best price. This was a nice value kit that can go with the 3/8, and I couldn't leave it there. Obviously I need some accessories to go with it, so I did pick up the extension bars. I felt like that's pretty much all it needs. Extension bars with that makes a nice little kit. We've got that as well. We've also got some screwdriver 1/4 inch bits that can go with the ratchet in snap-on screwdriver. So I think that's all good. So in terms of the pliers, I picked up a pair of their grips, and these are like the Knipex Cobra grips. They've got a button on them so you can adjust them. Then we've got the Snips bull-nose pliers. They didn't have any normal long-nose pliers, but I did see these. And these are the extra long reach. So I thought, you know, if you're gonna have long-nose pliers, you may as well get the long ones. And then it was in a kit with a bent set as well. So I thought, why not? As you might notice, none of these are pink. But you may also notice that the style of pliers that these are, they don't have like a molded grip. They've literally got a dipped handle. You can kind of see this little drip point on the bottom. So in the factory, when these are made, they are literally just dipped in a vat of rubber, which means we can dip them our own color. And for that, I've picked up something. You may have seen this before, you may not. It's called Plastidip. If you've seen it, chances are you've seen someone spraying their car with it, changing the colour of their car, and then when they get fed up with it, they can peel it back. And that's kind of what Plastidip is known for now. But actually, it started out, and you can see, even from the branding, that it all starts with dipping handles. Look, you've got a pair of pliers there being dipped with a yellow handle, and that's what it is. It's literally a rubber dip. Now this is their create your own colour kit. They don't have any pink. They've got some fluorescent pink aerosols, but they're no good to us. If you want your own pink dippable, you can get this create your own colour kit, and essentially we can make it any shade of pink we want. So the plan is to try and match it up to this or this. It's a new one on me, but if we can get the colour close match to this, we can then dip these handles. They should all fit in there, to be fair. That is like literally the perfect can size. It's almost like they've planned it. And then we can leave them overnight, and I think they'll probably need like 3 or 4 dips to get a nice vibrant pink handle. First things first, let me try, this is clear. Let me try and turn this into some sort of hot pink. Right, so it's been a couple of days and I really didn't get along with the create your own colour. Maybe I should have just been a bit more controlled, but I started banging in a bit of, I thought pink, bit of red, bit of white, you know, bit more red to make it more pink. Anyway, it was a nightmare. I had a bit of yellow, bit of green, I was Googling it. Anyway, I pretty much used all of the different pigments and I've ended up with this sort of coral colour. Couldn't get it any brighter. I was thinking I can't dip these in that because firstly, it's probably not even rubber anymore. There's so much pigment in it. It felt a lot runnier than it should and it's nowhere near the shade of pink that we need. But I went back on the website and I typed in pink and I didn't notice this the first time, blaze pink. It was in their fluorescence, so it wasn't in the normal colours, but it's arrived and I think that's pretty bang on. It's like a hot pink colour. It matches a lot of the snap-on pinks. And I thought, well, there we go. At least we know that it's the right consistency. It's the right rubber texture. So I have set up a little drying rig. Now, you didn't know shadow foam could make a drying rack. I thought to myself, these are going to have to hang. I'm going to have to dip them and then they're going to have to hang. So I needed some nice little hanging setup. And obviously, I'm going to have to dip these a few times. At this point, I don't really know how many times. But I want to make sure I can just keep coming, adding a layer to them, putting them back on the rack, and then get a nice thick layer basically. So it's a nice bright, vibrant pink, and it feels good. I've got 5 things to dip. I've got my snips, bullnose pliers, the 2 long nose, and the grips. Let's get to dipping. Right, so there we go. That is the pliers all done, and I'm absolutely buzzing with them. Honestly, I wasn't expecting it to be as good as it was. Even from the first dip, it clung to the handle, and I was already happy after one dip. The second dip's really thickened it up, made it a much brighter pink. Then I went round it with a knife and just cut off any kind of excess. And they look bought, to be honest. They look like something you just buy. Doesn't look homemade at all. The pink is not like any of the other shades of pink, but I think that adds to it really, because it's kind of a mixture of pink, all the different shades. I'm quite happy with it, and I'm really happy with the grips too. Everything else is steel, these are aluminium. Obviously it's slightly different, but they still look like a really nice matched set. It all goes together. So I think that solved my problem. Pliers was the biggest problem. Everything else I managed to find, although it's a big mixture of stuff, everything else I found a quality version in pink. But pliers, and having a good set of pliers and grips, for example, I was a bit worried about it, but there we go. Plastidip for the win. I'm pretty happy with that. So let me know if you've ever Plastidipped any handles and stuff, or whether you'd consider it, because I think maybe if you had a pair of pliers and the handle was knackered, or it had fallen off, that's a pretty good option. Obviously, I've gone over the top of the existing handle, but you can literally add new handles to stuff with that. So pretty happy with that, and that finishes off the toolkit. And I can dismantle my dodgy drying rack because that was touch and go. But shadow foam has got endless uses. But there we go, that is all of the tools I'm going to be trying to fit in this kit. All I've got to do now is put a layout together. Hopefully I can fit all of this in, cut all of these inserts, and make the epic toolkit. So let's get into the layout. Right, so I've got a bit of a layout going. That took a little bit of back and forth, to be fair. I've actually switched out one of the 50mm layers for 230s, but then I've subsequently managed to squeeze it all onto 3. So I could go for 230s. If I go for 3 liners in total, it'll be 3 50mm layers. And that's great. I mean, with shadow foam, we have 30mm inserts that slot straight in and 50mm, so I can literally switch it up depending. The 50mm base layer though will remain the same, and I've got the bigger chunkier items in that, so I'm going to start there, and hopefully once I start cutting everything in, the layout will become a little bit clearer. I might be able to squeeze a couple more items in there which will free up space, and you can see there's a gap here. Well, I've still got some 1/4" sockets to put in, you see. I've also taken away the Sealy spanners because although they look rainbow and oil slick, as soon as I laid them out, they looked green. The light was hitting them and they just looked green and they just threw me entirely off. So I actually had a set of these Weira Joker spanners, and essentially it's a full set of spanners in 4 items, and I really rate these. I like these. I've got a set for myself in the compact toolkit. I got these at the Bolton Tool Fair, and essentially they're like ratcheting, multi-sized spanners. So these 4 spanners, these Weira spanners, go from 7mm all the way up to 19, which is basically more than the Sealy set, and they take up a bit less room as well, and they're not throwing off the vibe. So it's still a nice pink toolkit. I don't have a big splash of green in there, which it just wasn't doing it for me. So let's get cutting. So there we have it. That is the ultimate pink toolkit, all finished, and I couldn't be happy with this. I think all 3 layers I've ended up being full to the brim with tools. Shadow foam is dead simple to use. You just lay out all your items exactly where you want them to go. Cut around the shapes with a sharp knife. I use a scalpel that come in our cutting kits, and cutting kits come free with most orders at shadowfoam.com. And then once you've cut all the way around, you just peel back layers to create inserts for all of the objects, whether they're a big old chunky object or a very small slim item. We've got a really well rounded out kit there. Let me know if there's anything you think we're missing, but I'm pretty confident we've got all the bases covered now with this toolkit. It's really good. And as a final detail, we've also added Real Girls Do It Themselves in the lid, which is a direct translation of this. Ector Mandel's Macken Selva, which is Real Girls Do It Themselves. We've got the breast cancer ribbon symbols on there and shadow foam, and there's loads of space in the middle for signatures from all of the different female creators and makers and YouTubers that we know. We're going to be sending this to them, getting them to sign it, write some messages on there, which I think will be really cool. It'll definitely add to it. Before I forget, let me sign it. So that's the first signature on there. And what we're doing with all of this? Well, it's going to be auctioned for breast cancer. So if you're interested in the ultimate pink toolkit, you can go and click the link down in the description, go and see the auction, drop a bid on there, because there's only one of these in the world and there's never going to be another one like it. So don't miss out. Go and drop a bid on the auction now. And that's it all packed up, and it fits in there like an absolute glove. Look at that. That is awesome. Right, so let's get it sent off. So
Shadow Foam have sent this, and I'm so excited. You ready? Look at that. Keeps getting better.
Yeah.
It's amazing.
Oh yeah. Thank you very much for signing that. I really appreciate it. Big thank you to all the creators who got involved and signed the lid for me. We took this thing on the road, took it to a few shows. It was really great to get their stamp of approval, having a look at the case, checking it out, and then giving it a signature on the lid. So it is all finished, or at least I thought it was, until a couple of the tools went walkies at Maker Central. Now, there weren't many, but the pink breast cancer awareness O-Light torch and a couple of the Joker spanners were missing after the show. We put a call out, but they didn't turn up. But don't worry, because O-Light and Weira, they love the project, they love the idea, and they're right behind us. So Weira sent out a set of the Joker spanners to replace the two that are missing. And O-Light, sadly, they didn't have the breast cancer awareness limited edition pink O-Light, but they did have a new pink model, which does complement the case nicely. I mean, any good toolkit has to have a torch in it, and an O-Light torch is great, and having another pink one in there does complete the set. So that is the pink toolkit, fully complete again, with all of the signatures in the lid. And if you would like this, get involved in the auction. This is up for auction right now, and we've got a link in the description, and all of the proceeds are going to breast cancer awareness. So head over to the link in the description, get your bids in. Please drop a like, make sure you subscribe to the channel, and share the video. If there's anyone you think who likes pink tools, makers, mechanics in the industry that you think would appreciate a really dialed in pink toolkit, share the link with them, share the link on your social medias, and a big new thing on YouTube is the hype button below. So if you give that a click, hopefully we can push this video out as far and wide as we can to get the best price for this toolkit and raise as much money as we can for breast cancer awareness. And drop a comment down below, and then you will be entered into this video's giveaway. So big thanks to all the creators again for signing the lid. Thank you to all you guys for watching, and thank you preemptively for bidding on this toolkit. I'm interested to see what it goes for. But thanks again, and I'll see you next time.